was born in the Philippines, and my father was in the Air Force, and I was only a couple months old when we moved over here, stationed in Northern California. And when I was 2, my parents divorced, so it was me and my older brother. We were left in the custody of my mom. I really didn't know what a father was. I had my grandfather and my uncles, my mom's brothers, and those were the only men that I saw, but it wasn't something that I saw every day, just every now and then. And a lot of the time the messages I got from them was more disciplinary. Usually when I got in trouble, did something bad, acted up, then they would sit down and have a talk with me, or spank me, and that was pretty much all that was to it. So I really didn't have that male figure in my life, which was the case for a lot of the kids I went to school with. I went to school in San Francisco inner city, so a lot of other boys, they were raised by their moms, only their moms. I guess the way all those messages that I got, the way they manifested in me is I was a really angry child. I would always get into trouble. I would always cause a scene, I guess. And when I look back, it was because I didn't have my dad. I didn't have anyone to really guide me. And I had to express that in some way. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but looking back, I think that's what it was. I always sort of gravitated towards elder men, and I always wanted their attention. And as a kid, I didn't know how to get it, so I would always act up. I would always get in trouble, and I would get their attention that way, and I would get spanked, or I would get yelled at, or whatever. And that was basically the only form of parenting from a male perspective that I ever got. And of course, I never got spanked by my dad. That was one of the ironies about it. I got spanked by everybody but my dad. I never had any talks with them about what manhood was, about what it represented. Unlike school, my cousins, me and my brother, we were the only ones that lived in a quote-unquote broken home. We were the only ones that didn't have both parents. So it was hard growing. It was hard growing up because I saw my cousins; they had both parents, and we were the only ones that didn't. So I was very envious of what they had, and at the same time confused as to why I didn't have that. What ended up happening is a lot of the male role models that I sort of tried to copy myself after were what I saw, in sports, in popular culture, movies, TV, and it was I would say, over masculine image, hyper masculine image. The hero type image. I never understood the softer side of being a man, being a human being. I never was taught that. I had no images of that, being sensitive, being in touch with emotions. That didn't exist in my family, and it didn't exist in any of the popular male figures that I saw in sports and in movies. I guess it wasn't until when my son was born where I really had to sort of confront the issues that I had with being fatherless as a child. I sort of put all that stuff under the rug, and I never really dealt with it. I kept myself distracted with other things, sports, spending money on materialistic things, and sort of avoiding my issues that I've had since childhood. But when my son was born, I sort of had to deal with those issues. For me, the struggle was, and is, how do I become a father when I have no idea what a father is, because I didn't experience that. Um, and there's a lot of guys that are just like me that are going through the same thing. Um, it's a tough journey. The idea of redefining manhood is very important because we live in a patriarchal society, and it's unbalanced. It's not the way it really is. It's only one side of the story. And for my life, living an unbalanced, highly masculine life, it just wasn't right. It brought out a lot of times it brought out the worst in me. So what I'm working with now, being a father, being a husband, is sort of letting go of what I was taught as a child and sort of embracing my feminine nature, the aspects of femininity, and being emotional and being expressive, and it's like telling my son that I love him, and not just spanking him, but having patience and having the patience just to talk. That's something that I could not have done before. I didn't have that skill. I was never taught that skill to just talk things out. It was always very reactionary. If somebody did something to me, then that was it. It was on. Very physical. But I guess it's only natural as we age. That's not the way. It's maturity, but it's also an understanding of patriarchy and the way it works. So, but like all things, I believe in balance, and eventually there will be a balance to everything. If not, then the society, our culture as we know it, will collapse, because it just can't work that way. It can't be one-sided for a long period of time. There has to be a balancing element in there to set everything straight. We have a new president that's going to be coming in January, and it's sort of refreshing to know that he was just like me. Grew up in a single-parent home, didn't have his dad, but yet he was able to, become the most powerful person in the world. So I look forward to all that he will inspire in me, as with everybody else too, who grew up just like I did, without their father, single-parent home. I think there's a lot of change that's going to happen, but it all starts with ourselves, and it's just a matter of healing the wounds of our childhood before we could actually move on as a parent. There's no way I can be a successful parent unless I deal with the issues I've had growing up. So for me, that's where I'm at, and that's where I'll be going, and we'll see where it goes from there.